17 years old now. I'm doing grade 8 at Sacred Heart College, and I'm just going to share with you this morning about my journey and how I've been doing what I do as an author. So who knows what an author is? Yes, person.
Somebody who writes books.
Yes. So that is what I do. But aside from also being an author, I am a philanthropist, which is someone who gives to people who do not have. I'm also a public speaker, meaning I do a lot of talks at schools and other events likewise. So my first book is titled Smelly Cats. And I wrote this book when I was 7 years old, and it was published when I was 8 years old. Now, the reason I actually started my writing journey was because back in 2014, around November, my mother graduated with her master's thesis. And when she graduated from university, I saw this book that everyone kept on saying, wow, you wrote a book, you wrote a book. So I obviously thought that my mother had written this book without telling me. So I decided that I was going to go on my own little journey and write my first book, Smelly Cats, without telling my parents. So the only person that knew that I was writing in the entire house was myself and my eldest brother, who helped me with spelling and helped me to sort of hear the story in the way that I wanted it to go. So this book is about two cats called Mark and Mac, who are cousins, and they go to the same school. But in school, they fight a lot for friends and to see who can gain the most friends, who can be most popular. And so this book is just the cycle of them going through these things. But the message I want to bring out in this book is how you move on from your fights. That yes, we do fight a lot with our siblings, if you have siblings, or with our cousins or our family members, but what's important is how you move on from your fighting. And this book is very colorful. We have lots of pictures here of their story and their journey as cats. I just want to make sure. Yes?
Did you illustrate the pictures?
Yes. Her question was if I illustrated the pictures in this book or if I wrote that or drew them, and it's no. We actually got a digital artist who did them professionally on a computer to come and do the books. So these pictures are quite colorful, and the cats in the story can do very human things. They attend school, like I mentioned. They can talk. They have family members, moms and dads and cousins, and they have friendships and so on and so forth. So that is my first book. So who likes cats in the room? Okay, that's a lot of people. But the funny thing about me is that when I actually wrote this book, and even still now, I was not a fan of cats. I'm still not a fan of cats because I think they're quite scary. They do, or from what I've seen, they scratch a lot, and they're very moody. So I'd rather stick to dogs. I have one dog who's about like this height, very tiny, but he's really calm and unbothersome. So my next book is Bob and the Snake. This book I wrote when I was 8 turning 9. Is about a boy called Bob and his snake called Love, because it rhymes with his name, and their journey as friends, but also the hardships they go through together with Bob's family members. Yes?
I just want to ask if you know any answer. Did your parents ever find out when you were young that you wrote the book?
Oh, yes. So actually, my mom is somewhere in the room, at the back of the room right there. So yes, she knows that I have written this book because I don't think there was a way for me to go ahead and get the paper printed, get illustrated, get published without my parents' knowledge. And when I was writing the book, I never really expected a hard copy book to come out of my writing, but I did tell my mom after I finished writing, I was like, Mom, I'm finished writing my book. I expected her response to be like, oh, you wrote a book, blah, blah, blah. I didn't expect this as a response, but I'm very grateful because this did spark a huge journey that I was able to go through. So like I was explaining, Bob and Love go through hardships along with Bob's family, and it's basically just how friends can interfere with relationships which are meant to be closer to home than you. So this book also has some pretty colorful pictures, and it's just illustrating Bob's journey. And fun fact, this boy, or Bob, actually actually has the face of my older brother who is currently in school right now. So these are all the illustrations in our book, in my book. Very colorful, very bright. Right, next book. We then have Smelly Cats on Vacation, which is another question.
Why would you at school then?
Pardon?
Why would you at school then?
Why? Oh, because I'm here in a little book session right now, but I think I'll go back to school after I'm finished with this. Yeah. So yeah, we have my third book, which is another version of my first book. So this one is Smelly Cats, and this book is Smelly Cats on Vacation. So now our cats are traveling. Who likes going on vacation? Let's be honest. Okay. Favorite vacation place to visit? Sun City. Yes, that's a really good one. Yes.
Australia.
Australia. Never been. Yes.
London.
London. Wow. Yes.
Japan.
Japan.
Italy.
Italy.
What would you...
Different places.
So, we got the Oyster Bottom Challenge probably in Cape Town Forest.
My favorite place? Yes. Greece. Okay, so you guys have really traveled the world. Yeah.
I haven't ever been on the seas, so usually I like going to my granny's house because the park is very close.
Yes.
When it comes to game reserve, Belgium, Singapore,
Singapore. Wow.
Dubai,
Dubai. This is a lot of places. Yeah.
London,
London again.
Disney World,
Disney World.
Mauritius,
Mauritius.
Portugal.
Portugal. Okay, thank you. That's fine for now. Well, in these books, our cats are not traveling far from home. They are actually traveling to Namibia. Do you guys know where Namibia is? It's just, yes?
So it's basically just above South Africa.
Yeah. Along the borders of South Africa, we have this really vast place called Namibia, which is really, it doesn't have a lot of people, but there is a lot of sand, so our cats go explore the sand dunes and all the wonderful things that you can actually do in Namibia. Has anyone ever been to Namibia? No? Yes?
How old are you?
When I wrote this book, I think I was 10. I was about 10 years old when I wrote this book. So yeah, Smelly Cats on Vacation. Now we have my fourth book, Tim's Answer. Now before I explain what this book is about, can anyone tell me what a role model is? Yes. Person who inspires you to do something. Anyone else? Yes? Someone you look up to. Correct. So with those two definitions, we now have my fourth book, Tim's Answer. In this book, we have our boy called Tim, who is going on a journey to find his role model. Now, Tim does travel, like a lot of you guys have. He went to the United States of America. He's gone to Italy and to Egypt just to find his one role model. So we're basically following him, going on his journey to see who he wants to look up to, who inspires him to be a good person and what he is passionate about. Now this book doesn't have colorful pictures because as I grow, my work has to grow as well. And so it is for more of an older audience than my first two books. And see, yeah, not that many pictures and quite a lot of work. Yeah. Now we have my fifth and most recent book titled Where is Tanny? Where is Tanny covers a more deep subject, and it covers child kidnapping and child abduction. So what this book is about, we're following Tanny, whose face isn't on the cover because, where's Tanny? And we're following his journey about his experience and how he uses that to both educate himself, to educate his family, and to educate his friends about the dangers of child kidnapping. And I wrote this book just so I can express awareness foundation is or does?
The like help of people like the SPCA and Foundation for Animals.
Yes.
Foundation is like you can go to it online. So foundation is like you can donate money or you can help them. So you were saying you help people in different kind of things. So I think a foundation is where people work and help.
Yes.
It's when you
Okay. Yes.
it's like if they can't afford books, you're going to give them it. And it's like a fundraiser kind of.
So all those definitions are correct. So what you do in the foundation is that you can collect donations, you collect items which can be used to help other people. Now with my foundation, the Stacey Foundation, we focus on two main aspects, which is literacy and safety and security. Who knows what literacy is? It's pretty, yes?
I think the literacy is pretty much what isn't it basically like English?
Okay, so not only English, but literacy is the ability to read and write. So it can be in any and every single language. You can be literate. So literacy is one of the aspects of the foundation, but also safety and security. Because we believe at the foundation that you cannot obtain literacy or you cannot educate yourself in a place where you do not feel safe. And feeling safe, safety and security is basically being put in an environment with no harm to yourself or to others, because it does distract you when you're in a distracting environment and in an environment that isn't very good for you. So what we do with the resources that we either collect or provide ourselves is that we go out and we run various campaigns, such as the African Book a Child campaign, in which we collect books from either African authors or books on Africa, and we donate them to various orphanages, to homes, and to underprivileged schools. We do the Safety and Security campaign for children by a child, in which we use My Book Where's Tammy, which is actually inspired by a play we once did when we started this campaign. And we use the material also found in this book to educate children about the dangers of our society. We also do the African Children of the Year Awards, which is an award ceremony which is coming up in November, in which we empower and encourage African children who are doing great things in their community to continue doing what they do by empowering them and giving them awards to say you have been recognized for your good deeds. And we do various other things under the foundation, so if you guys are willing to help with some of those projects, you can just visit the foundation's website and get your parents' information as well, so that we can make the collaboration and help more people. So yes, that is basically what we do under the foundation. But we all, yes?
I think this is my second time seeing you. Because back in my old school, I saw you following you about the story.
That's me. Yeah, I have been around
Is
quite a
that
while.
you?
Yes, that's me when I was 5 years old. So I know I look very different now. Maybe you can't like see because I'm wearing a mask. Just take off. Yeah, so this is how I look without my mask. But yes, I have to wear it. I know it gets suffocating sometimes, but the times we live in. So who can guess the amount of people in the world that are illiterate? So we learned what literacy is, meaning the ability to read and write. So illiteracy is the opposite of literacy, meaning people who cannot read or write. And it's somewhere in the millions. I just want you guys to give it a try. Yes?
Somewhere in the middle.
No, no. You have to, it's like a specific number, which is like, no, it's a huge number.
1,000 million.
900.
Who said 900?
500 million, we're close. 500 million, we're quite
Yeah.
close. Yes?
600 million.
Very close. Very, very close. Okay, let's see.
700 million.
Correct. 700 million.
Sorry.
Sorry. There are over 700 million, to be exact, there are 775 million people across the world who are unable to read and write. And do you guys think that there's a problem with so many people being unable to read and write?
Yeah.
No. Who says no? Why do you say no? No? Okay, who says yes? Right. I'll give the correct answer to the question. So basically, it is a huge problem for us to have so many people who are unable to read and write, because these people cannot even send a text message or write a letter to someone. They are unable to seek help because they are illiterate and they have no idea of what's going on in the world. Now, if you look at the 7 billion people that we have in the world, and we just cancel out babies who can't read, 700 million is a huge number and a huge percentage of people, which I would like to someday make that number a lot less larger than it is, so that we can go into a society where everyone is literate, but also equal in the sense that we are each receiving an education. But a big problem with that is that it's going to take a long time. So it's one of my very distant goals, but it's also something that I want to work really hard on in the future, because I want everyone to experience the wonders of reading and writing. So who likes to read and write? Okay, why do you like reading?
So like the reading gives you like more imagination and give you more details, like learn new words too.
I agree. Okay, why do you like to read? It's fun. Why do you like to read?
I like to read because one, I sometimes get bored and don't know what to do, and two, I like reading mystery books because it comes, it makes me, after I finish it, I want to read more, and I want to, if it ends on a cliffhanger, I'm like, I need the next book.
Yeah, cliffhanger.
Or I feel like I'm the character in it. So
Okay. Let's see. Hands that I have. Yes. Why do you like to read?
I like to read because it's like adventure.
Yes. Yes. It's very interesting. Yes.
I like to read because you learn new vocabulary as you go along.
Yes.
I like to read because it's calming.
It's calming.
So one, I just like it. Two, I also not like science books because I like because I just like science. So. Because mostly at the end always like a happy ending.
Although not all books have happy endings. Yes.
I think that it is very fun also. You have nothing to do. You just need to keep the time.
It is. It's a good question.
I like to read because it's magical.
Okay. Hand down. Now I just want to ask maybe 2 people who would like to come and read one of these books. Just a few pages of the book. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Very eager to come up. And I'll choose the next one after she's finished reading. So I'm sorry.
talking. Talking? What? Tammy's father liked talking, taking him to places like school, church, library, parks, family and friends' houses. One day, Tammy and his father were walking back from the shops when Tammy's father received a very important telephone call. Hello, he said to the caller. Yes, oh, yes, of course, Tammy heard his father saying on the telephone while holding his hand as they walked. The caller did not stop talking, so Tammy's father did not stop listening and responding. Tammy could see his father smiling as he spoke, but he did not really know what they were talking about. His father looked at his face now and then with a smile and kept talking. Tammy smiled back and wondered, could it be a business call? I don't know. Hear him calling in the person's name. They kept walking home and Tammy's father held Tammy's hand even tighter. Tammy always liked it when his father held his hand in their neighborhood. So he walked along quietly, determined not to interrupt his father. Unfortunately, because Tammy's father's hand that was holding him also had a bag of groceries, he had to let go of Tammy and in order for both of them to walk probably. Also so that they can walk without fear of the bag making one of them fall. Since the grocery bag kept hitting the legs one at a time, Tammy had already survived falling a few times. So when his father let go of him, it was safer for him. Tammy's father's eyes kept going on Tammy as they walked slower now. He walked to always make sure that Tammy was safe. It looked like the telephone conversation became more interesting. All of a sudden, Tammy's father stood for a while to probably speak. Tammy kept looking at his father, wondering who the caller is and what they might be talking about. It was so quick. Tammy's father does not remember when or how expectantly he looked, exactly how lost sight of Tammy. He could not even tell me as I write this book, but by the time he looked at where Tammy was standing, Tammy was gone.
Now another person should read. Let's see.
While in class waiting for their reports to be given to them, Mac was thinking about the holiday and he was also thinking about his marks and his reports. Meanwhile, Mark's mother also saw the school principal passing by a corridor and rushed off to talk with her. They are good friends, then asked Mark to go to his teacher and collect his report. After collecting Mac's report, Mac's father waited for him. Mark's mother, as soon as she came back, he told her that he is taking Mac home. So Mac's dad moved towards Mac, took his hand, and they walked home while holding each other. Mac was the happiest boy ever. His father had saved him the second time. This means that he may never answer Mark's mother's question again because she may soon forget about the news. On their way home, Mark asked his mother, "Mom, why do you seem to hate Mac these days so much?" His mother drove quietly for a little bit before she said, "Are you asking because you do not know what he has done?" "No, what has he done?" Mark asked as he leaned forward from the back seat of the car, where he is buckled. "Buckle up," his mother said. "You need to be fastened and lean back because the car is moving." His mother did not say anything until they got home. Their house is also just a few blocks away from school. But unlike Mac's father, Mark's mother did not want to talk because she sweats. She said that she hates sweating because the smell of sweat is disgusting. After they walked into their kitchen, Mark's mother said, "Right then, let's not waste any time. Open your report. Do you know that none of the parents in this book smelly cats ever really smelled?" When Mark opened his report, this is what they saw. Report. Meanwhile, in Mac's house, he and his father went to sit under a big tree with magnificent branches and a cool breeze. All around them was a calm and cool environment. They were very lucky to have this tree in their garden. When his father opened Mac's report, he paused, looked at Mac, closed their report, and then asked Mac for a glass of coffee. Mac went off. His heart was beating really fast. He did not like the look on his father's face. Mac feared that he was in trouble. He rushed for the water with his hands shaking. He decided to say a quiet prayer as he filled the glass. "Dear God, please make sure that I pass. I really need to have a nice and enjoyable holiday with my family and friends. Thank you, dear God, because I know that you are God." Amen.
Thank you to all those who read, and I hope the people on Zoom that you were able to catch the words that they said. But now, before we head on to questions and answers, I just want you guys to raise your hand and tell me if you've learned something today, and tell me what you've learned, if anything. Yes.
I learned that
that the world can be really dangerous, but you have to keep safety and stuff.
Next, we wanted to ask us the point a very nice thing that you never let anyone see.
Welcome on Zoom. I think we're going to do questions and answers now. So if you have any questions for me that I didn't answer during the course of the session, then you can ask them now. The questions will be about yes, so my first book took me about 5 months to actually write and finish, and then the publishing process was a whole new set of work that had to be achieved. So all in all, it took quite a long time for everything to
Do you think you can publish it?
be finished.
Did you think you can publish it?
I wa-
The question is, did you think you were going to publish?
So while I was writing the book, I never expected it to be published, nor did I have any expectations for it to actually come out like this. So everything was really new to me. Everything.
When you start writing
Can you repeat the question?
Do you think you'll write like more adults?
Yes, well, I'm not an adult yet, so I would think that it would take some time for me to get to that level. But I do think that I would write books for children my age, or even children your age, who are avid readers, because I think I did a lot of good reading.
I've got the questions of you, really good ones. Tamara asked, how do you think of the ideas for your books?
How I think of my ideas, I think that it's about things that I observe and things that I think are fun to me, which is how I think of my ideas. But also the idea changes as we write, and things get more elaborated on, and sometimes you take a certain idea off. So the idea you start with is never really the idea you actually finish with. So the whole writing process is just what you think is best.
From the club family, did you always like reading?
I always did like reading, and I think that I did so because my parents did push reading and writing a lot in our household. Since they were always busy, we would just pick up books and read amongst ourselves. I have 3 other siblings, an older brother and 2 brothers and 1 sister, so we did a lot of reading and writing together.
That's a really good question from Tiago. What book took you the most time to write?
What book took me the most time? I would say it was Smelly Cats on Vacation, and also Where's Tammy, because Where's Tammy there had to be a lot of research going into this book to make sure that everything was factual for the readers. And for Smelly Cats on Vacation, I also did some research about Namibia and just everything in general.
Do you have any ideas for your next book?
So the question is, do you have any ideas for your next book? From
So,
Gabriel.
other than the one I've recently finished, I'm thinking of writing also more mystery, because there was this one book that I started writing, I think 2 years ago, and I dropped it because I just absolutely couldn't finish it. So I think that I'll pick that book up and continue to write it again. See if I can finish it. Yes.
What is your most longest book?
My longest book, I don't know if you mean in terms of pages or in terms of words, but
In
I think
pages.
in terms of pages, I think it would be Smelly Cat Vacation. It's pretty thick book.
Are your books available on Audible?
No, the books are only available on Amazon, which is an online platform, and you can also order them online at other bookshops, such as exclusive bookshops in Rosebank, My Reader's Warehouse, Zara Bookshops, My African Guide,
Do you plan to write an autobiography that comes from?
my mom did talk to me about that long time back, but I don't like non-fiction. I like fiction because you can do a lot of stuff I don't know if there's more talent, but a lot of people do. Maybe so. Okay.
From Henry, what is your favorite book?
My favorite book would be The Trap by Ellen Gibson. It's a really nice book, and I think I've reread it about 3 times now. So it's very good.
Are you writing a book yourself?
No, I'm not. So we just recently started school, so I'm sort of there.
In the beginning you said that everyone was saying to you wrote the book. Did she actually write it?
Did you have it?
So in the beginning you said that everyone did she actually write it?
So I think not I think, I know that I mistook the book at the time, because that book she wrote in order to graduate from university. So I just thought that she wrote it as I did for fun. But ever since then, my mom has actually published books on her own. So I think that she was competing with me. After I published, she was like, okay, now I'm also going to publish. So yeah, my mom is also an author. Yes.
Do you plan to write any chapter books?
So in fact, these books are chapter books. They do have chapters and sections within the book to make it easier to read.
A question from Wanda, a really nice one. Who inspires you most?
Who inspires me most? I think that a lot of the inspiration, if we're talking about my writing, various authors that I read from, they inspire me on how I want to structure my paragraphs and my sentences. They inspire me on what I need to focus on more, because a lot of the time when I used to write, I would either focus too much on dialogue or too little on dialogue. So they've helped me create that balance within my work. They've also helped me with detail when I'm explaining things. And so I wouldn't say that I just followed one author and sort of, did as they did. I think it just comes from a lot of sources. And yeah.
Have you ever met your favorite author?
Right, my favorite author. No, I don't really have a favorite author, but if I had to, I'd say it was John Green, and I haven't met him yet, so I'll be with Yes?
Tito. Which author do you read the most?
Which author I read the most from? It used to be David Williams, because I did buy like a collection of his books, and so I was on end reading them. But I think the author I read the most from now would be either Angie Thomas or John Green, which I really like them.
What's your favorite book that you wrote?
That I wrote. I think it would be my first one, Smelly Cats, and it's because it's my first one, and it's the one that's led to the chain of events of all of them being published.
Do you your family inspired you to write books?
Big pardon?
Do your family inspired you to write books?
Did my family inspire me?
No, doing your family
Oh,
inspired you to
my
write
grandmother.
the full smelly cat. What idea did this possibly
Before I wrote Smelly Cats. Before I wrote Smelly Cats, I would write stories about my friends, like friends that I would sit next to in class. I'd write stories about them, and I'd give it to them to read, and so on and so forth. But what inspired the storyline for Smelly Cats? I just thought cats fighting in a school environment, and it's how I came onto the empire. So I have always been writing before. Yeah.
Did your other siblings help you with your books?
So my youngest siblings at the time were too young to, help me with my books. And the only help that they managed to provide was deleting my work, which I was really angry for. Until this day, I will never forgive them. But my older brother was my biggest help in all of that.
Okay, 3 more questions.
Do you plan to be an author when you're grown up?
I would like to continue writing, but I would like to focus more on my foundation, but also pursue another career. So I think something like engineering. Yeah.
Are you studying to be like an author or studying to be something?
Well, right now I'm still in grade 8, so I'm still studying the normal school curriculum. But if I was in university, I'd still be student.
Do you think you'll get great at higher education?
Do I think so? I think I'm quite famous now, if I have to say so. So, more famous, no.
Do you know any of your mother's books? Well, have you read any of your mother's books? And if you have, which one is your favorite?
Oh, my mother's books. Have I read them? So my mother's books mainly focus on parenting, and I am not a parent yet. None of children, are parents yet. So if I haven't read any of her books yet because they just focus on the boring side of life. I'll postpone it for after that. Okay, last question.
Did you write it on a paper clip?
No, I wrote it on so I've written it up somehow.
Thank you very much, Stacey. It's been such a privilege hearing of your journey and introducing us to your books. And we really just appreciate your time and getting to know you better. And just a token of thank you for time.